Folks, welcome to So Bad It's Good. This is now part of a two-part Real Housewives of Orange County recap. The first, I didn't think it was going to be this long, but I did the first episode, which I thought was going to be a small segment, talking about Reality with the King, Carlos King's podcast he did with Alexis Bellino and Johnny J. John Jansen. And it turned out to be really fascinating. So that it turned out to be a whole episode. We talked about a couple of other things, but this is going to be the recap. So finally, we're at the recap for episode 4 of the 18th season of Orange County. And like I said, I think this has been a great season thus far. I think we've got a lot of low level drama. We got high level drama. We've got how much can Shannon Bedore withstand. We finally got Heather Dubrow activated by the end of this episode. Katie Janella is making a big swing in this episode in regards to Heather Dubrow. And it is funny to think about how much the castmates seem to fear the wrath of Heather Dubrow, but at the same time, they're kind of egging it on. Like they want to see Heather Dubrow get activated. They just don't want to be the person that gets her activated, which is always the strong the sign of a really strong friendship group. If they just throw the new person under the bus, yeah, you should completely follow down that path. Yep. You should talk as much shit about Heather Dubrow as possible. Let's see how that works out for you. Like nobody in this group is saying, Katie, you really shouldn't do this at all. They're like, yeah, let her rip. Yeah, this will be good. Good stuff. Um, so I think we have everything that we need. It's going to be really interesting to see where we go from here. We've obviously dealt with the Alexis Johnny J stuff for the most part with this episode, and Alexis isn't in this episode. She'll be back next week. So this is just the core Housewives. And we always start these episodes with scenes from the previous week's episodes. And basically, they showed us that they did that flag football game last week. They remind us that Jen Pedranti is poor. it's a I mean, I love that when that's it's so unfair. It's somebody's storyline of they're really poor. Gina's like, you're not in a casita yet. We have the storyline of Gina and her boyfriend Travis, which is still to me, like I need Unsolved Mysteries to do an episode just on Gina and Travis's relationship because I couldn't be more confused if I tried. And I am so blown away by this because Travis seems like such a soft-spoken, good dude. And it seems like they've managed to co-mingle their families. They both have kids and they seem like they're a family together. And then all of a sudden, Gina wants Travis to move out. And yes, the reasoning of the kids are growing up and they need more space. I get that, but I don't necessarily understand we can't afford a place altogether as much, but you can afford 2 other mortgages or rents. And especially since Gina's big in the real estate world, woo, I'm selling houses. That I just, there's something here. And she keeps alluding to Travis's ex-wife. And I know that's probably a delicate dance of what you can actually say about somebody's ex-wife on television. But if you're going to hint at it, and especially with a rabid Bravo audience, I can't be the only one wondering what the F is truly going on here. Because it really does seem like you're soft launching a breakup, and this is the first step to just like ease into a breakup, even though that's a pretty big step of like move out. It doesn't make tons of sense to me. And I'm always trying to make sense of this. But I will say, having said all of that, I am loving Gina this season. I mean, Gina is throwing everything against the wall. And maybe that's not a popular opinion, but I'm loving it. Loving it. Like if I were to rate who I love right now, I gotta say SB, the good old Shannon Bedore. I root for her. I think a lot of us do. Really liking Gina. Really like Jen Pedranti. I like Emily. I really want Emily to get something good, something juicy. I feel like Gina's got something juicy. I want Emily to have something juicy. I don't want anything bad to happen to her relationship because I'm a Shane Simpson fan. And I think that dynamic is pretty funny, especially next week. We're going to see Emily give her erotic photography, her boudoir photography to Shane Simpson. And I can't wait to see that scene. Katie, I'm digging as a newbie. I think she's fantastic, even though, like I said, this is a really big move, what she does to Heather Dubrow in this episode. Now, Heather Dubrow, Heather is, I mean, she really is fancy pants. She oozes wealth. I mean, I literally, there's a cream that she wears called Oozing Wealth, and she has it spackled all over her body. And it almost is like a caricature at this point, where it's always the diamonds, the outfits, the champagne glass, the giving of the very expensive gifts anywhere she goes, the pointing out in this first scene that their new house is going to be near Drake's house. I mean, it's constant reminder of how good her life is. And I don't know if I necessarily love, like, I know some people, they love that kind of opulence in their housewives. And I do to a degree, but also I think this is the fault of me being a dude a little bit, where I don't pay attention to dress and wealth the way that, like some people watch this and it's aspirational. And I kind of look way beyond that. What I will say about Heather, I do think she's an amazing mom. And I will say her and Terry truly do seem like they're made for each other, because I do think that they both love the spotlight. I was talking to Rebecca last night and I was talking about Heather, as you do around the home. And I said, you can already see Heather Dubrow in her 60s and 70s. Like, she'll constantly be involved in some form of entertainment. Like, if they still had like that game show Hollywood Squares, I think Heather Dubrow would be like a great Hollywood Square when she's in her late 60s, and it'll be like, oh yeah, the funny rich lady. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she's such a caricature. And the thing with Heather Dubrow that always, I mean, it's with any, I guess, housewife or anybody that wants to be on reality television, but Heather in particular, she has this amazing life, which she points out. And it really does seem like really amazing, just all of this. And yet she still wants to be on television. She still yearns for that spotlight. And we say this about Bethany Frankel a lot as well, is that it's not just the wealth, it's the attention and the spotlight, because she's constantly out there wanting to do projects, wanting to do things. And I'm like, yeah, of course, maybe that she's just a workhorse like that. And I think maybe that's another perspective that comes from me, because besides this podcast, I'm genuinely lazy. So it's hard for me to imagine if you did have all of this wealth and you didn't have to, why put yourself through the TV experience? Why do that unless you really want to be seen by millions of people? And wasn't she initially, wasn't the thing was that they were moving to Beverly Hills so she could be close to more acting work? Is she doing more acting work? Remember when that was like a storyline last season? Are we getting closer to Heather Dubrow on a bunch of shows? I mean, they've got to throw her a couple of bones. Is she out there auditioning? Are we going to see that storyline this season of Heather auditioning for like a big like CSI type show? Can you see Heather Dubrow on Law and Order chasing down perpetrators? I'm here for it. So, I mean, we've got a really good cast, and I'm just curious to see where we all kind of go from here. But my main bone of contention right now, really want to know what's Gina and Travis, what the so the scenes from last week, we have all those scenes, but I just want to, like, Travis in that scene with Gina, he's like, literally all you're, it just seems like what you're trying to say is talk about is how to the decision that you made, and it's really confusing to me. He's just so damn soft spoken. It just seems like what you're doing is just trying to undo the decision you made, and that's really confusing to me. I mean, that's who you want, right? You don't want a showstopper. You want like a solid dude. You don't want the guy that's like, hey, razzled out, one singular sensation. Nah, 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 nah. If Travis was coming into scenes tap dancing and like loving the camera, you can sense that he genuinely doesn't care and doesn't like the camera. And I like that. We also had a scene where Shannon and Tamara were facing off talking about the Trace Amigas tour. And Shannon saying, we always have to do it around Tamara's schedule. And you're walking around and you're saying, thank me for the show. And then we cut to the scene in the first episode where Tamara is telling Jen Pedranti and Emily Simpson that she is out of the Trace Amigas. And she lets us know it was a lot of drinking. And I felt that it was bad taste to do a show right after Shannon's DUI. Okay, but now, if I'm not mistaken, they did do a Trace Amiga show right after Shannon's DUI. And then Tamara just didn't continue with the Trace Amiga show. I agree with Tamara. Like, I think I've said this on this podcast when they initially did do that show. And I think Maritza went to that show actually in Phoenix. But yeah, bad idea. Not a great idea to have done that Trace Amiga show directly after. Like, I know Vicky and Shannon are doing their Dos Amigas tour and with Doug Buden as the host. I think now the time has passed. That's okay. But yeah, the Trace Amigas, from what I had understood, was like, Vicky, Tamara, and Shannon whooping it up and doing shots on stage and stuff. So I thought it was kind of in poor taste to do it then. And so, like, Tamara doing that initially, I thought was in poor taste. I thought they shouldn't even given Shannon a choice at that point and just let Shannon go and do her healing. But of course, Tamara is not a part of the Trace Amigas anymore. So then we also got scenes of Katie meeting Heather. And then I got to tell you, I love Katie too because she brought back Sutton on TV. I mean, Sutton was on OC last week, and Katie talking about going to Sutton's Christmas party and Heather Dubrow staring at her for 5 seconds and then turned around and said nothing to me. Katie's saying that Heather is playing 2 separate roles with her, 2 separate kinda, being two-faced with her, and Sutton letting us know, "Well, I wouldn't go up against Heather. No, I say I would never. Not no old Heather Dubrow, Sutton Strack. Sutton Strack would never go to war with Heather D. Dubrow. Not no Miss Fancy Pants. No, I'm on the board of 2 ballet companies and 2 minor league baseball teams. I say I don't have time for no fight with Heather Dubrow." I do love, like, this is what I'm talking about, this legend of Heather Dubrow, where everybody's like, I wouldn't go up against Heather. What am I missing? Like, I've seen, like I said in the first episode, I've seen Heather get into it with people, and I've always thought, oh yeah, Heather Dubrow's mad, but I've never been like, oh shit, like, oh no. I don't know, but I love the fact that they all truly do seem frightened, frightened of Heather Dubrow. Okay, so we start with the opening credits, and this is the first week we finally get their Real Housewives taglines, right? So the music starts up, and Heather Dubrow is the first. She's like, "Just because I drink from a flute doesn't mean you can play me." And we see the shot of the family. Just because I drink from a flute doesn't mean you can play. Just because I drink from a champagne flute doesn't mean you can play me. It reminds me of that Allison Hannigan in American Pie with the flute. Yeah, enough said. But yeah, it's like, yeah. Okay, so the tagline regard your wealth, opulence, but Heather Dubrow will not be played. No, Katie, you better step off, Katie. Then we got Shannon Storms Bedore, and she's like, even in the harshest of times, this storms will always weather it. And then we see a shot of Shannon's daughters and Archie. Archie going, "Oh my God, we're doing this again." Like, fucking A. Like, Archie is so funny this season. Archie is so over the camera. He's like, "Oh my God, another season? Really? Really? Let me guess. Tamara's after you again, right, Shannon? Oh, Archie, please take it easy on me." So, yeah, Shannon Storms will always weather the storms. Great tagline for Shannon. Then we have Emily, and Emily's like, "I used to question people for a living. Now I just do it for fun." And we see Emily's family. Now, Emily, of course, because she used to be a lawyer. So I think that's what that's in regards to. Remember the old Emily taglines? Wasn't one like, I have a hip. I've got a hip replacement. And then one was like, "I'm 2 tacos short of a combination plate." Wasn't it something to do with tacos or sandwiches? So this is good. Yeah, this is good. Then we go to Gina, and Gina's like the properties I represent, I know my worth. And then we see Travis and her 3 kids, which, by the way, they throughout the season, it's whatever's happening through Travis and Gina's relationship, they should make Travis like slowly disappear in the opening. Each like that photo in Back to the Future with Marty McFly's family. Like, "Oh no, Doc, Travis is almost gone from this photo." Like the real estate properties I represent. Don't fuck me over. I'm doing real estate. I'm Gina. Okay, and then we go to Katie, the new housewife, and she says, "When you live your life on the green, envy is just par for the course," because her family is a very golf focused family. What I was shocked about this week's episode, I thought that meant like Katie was a good golfer. It turns out Katie's a bad golfer. Like, how is that like a big thing in your family, and then you're not good at the golf? Like, I want to talk to Katie about this. Like, that's got to eat her alive that she loves the game and is potentially not good at it. Okay, now Jen Pedrante's tagline is it's literally just her Venmo name, and she's asking for donations. She's like, "At Jen Pedrante, please Venmo." No, it says, "People bend over backwards to get me, and their form is terrible." And I think that's directed at Tamra. Like, she's bending over backwards, but She has no back power. That's what I'm just guessing. And we see Jen's family, including her fiance Ryan. And then we got Tamra. And Tamra's like, the only thing stuck up about me is my middle finger. You get it, guys? Middle finger. I'm rock and roll. And we see Tamra's family, one of her daughters, and then her son, Ryan, who is wearing a cowboy hat and a big cowboy belt buckle. Like I always say, I watched one season of Yellowstone and I moved to a ranch. Tamara is like the Monster Energy drink of Housewives. You know what I'm saying? Of course it like middle finger. Like I wonder what like the thrown away taglines were for like a big like a big dip of skull chew. Now, I'm trying to think of anyways. Those are the taglines this season. Now, of course, Alexis didn't get a tagline because she's only a friend of, but Alexis's tagline would have been something like, I'll steal your man like I steal the audience's hearts. Yay. So we open up on this week's episode. It's called Not My Cup of Tea. And the cable company description says Katie and Heather come head to head at Katie's golf event. Just one sentence, but it tells us all that we need to know. Now, we open up not in OC, but we open up in Beverly Hills. Beverly Hills. That's where I want to be. Gimme, gimme. Gimme, gimme. I think Heather Dubrow would actually make a fantastic Beverly Hills housewife. And the fact that she's splitting her time between multiple different areas of California has to be exhausting because I got to tell you, folks, that drive from Orange County to Beverly Hills is not pretty. I'm sure they helicopter in at this point, but it's wild. So we're in Beverly Hills and we see this gigantic high rise into the sky. And we see this beautiful deck overlooking Los Angeles in this high rise. And we hear Terry and he's like, honey, honey, and gives her a kiss on the cheek. And Fancy Pants has this whole like charcuterie board set, the champagne, the OJ. And Heather's like, by the way, Terry, can you pick out our house from here? And we see the view. And he's like, yeah, it's right. And then Heather's like, well, or is that our house? Or is that Drake? Is that the rapper Drake's house? And he's like, no, you know what? Drake's house is right over there. And we get a little description on the picture. It says Dubrow House Arrow, and then a little to the left, Drake's house. Now, I know Heather thinks she is, listen, unfortunately, Heather, this was before Drake's beef with Kendrick Lamar, the other rapper. So I think she thought Drake was going to be way more popular and we would be like, oh shit. But I almost feel like, oh, Heather, not the time. Whap, 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 go fuck him up. Whap, whap, whap. I will say Shannon Bedore later this season announces she lives next to Kendrick Lamar. And I think Shannon is overall the winner. But I just love that. I'm like, is that not Tupac's house right over there? Terry, that's amazing. And David Hasselhoff lives right over there to the right. And then Alf, the sitcom star Alf, lives right directly next door to us. So anyways, they're showing the audience that they are very rich. And then she's like, do you want to have our drinks on the patio? And he's like, that would be lovely. It's so pretty. So they go outside with their drinks. I mean, I will say this couple is so made for each other. And this Terry, man, I don't see how you do it. This guy seems like he works his ass off. I can't even imagine. I still say that all the time. The fact that he was commuting from Orange County to his office in Beverly Hills and doing all the botched and stuff. Like, how did you have any time at home? So Heather says, listen, Terry, I got a call from Cassandra today. She has someone that wants to lease the apartment. But what are we going to do when we move out of the house? And she lets us know in a talking head, I would love to live in this penthouse while we're doing the construction on the house. Remember, they bought a new house. She says, but it is only 2 bedrooms. Ace and Kat are at ages where they need their own rooms. Where they need their own floors. I don't even believe rooms. I believe she thinks they need their own floors. She tells Terry, I really don't want to rent the place out. And Terry's like, I've made like 4 gym friends down there. Terry Dubrow. Hey, can you bench me? My name's Terry Dubrow. Can you spot me, brother? My name is Terry Dubrow. Would you like to pump iron? Huh, babe, I met a new gym friend today. Oh, his name's Randy. He helped spot me. I'm up to 60 pounds on the bench press, babe. I love that Terry made 4 new gym friends. That's like me on the first day of school in junior high. Terry's 4 new gy I hope we meet Terry's 4 new gym friends throughout the season. Anyways, Heather goes, "This penthouse is literally the world's most expensive closet at this point." And we see all the fancy rooms. And it is funny to have this as a storyline in juxtaposition with Gina's storyline, where she's like, "We don't have enough room. The kids literally, their bones, they're growing and they're growing into the walls. It's so tight." And Heather is literally like, has a room just to fart in, you know? And then Heather goes, "I don't even shower at that house, Terry. I shower here. I get dressed here." And then Terry goes, "Let's be honest. This is where you poop." And she just looks at Terry. She goes, "I don't do that." And you know what? For once, I totally believe Heather Dubrow. I truly think Heather Dubrow doesn't poop. Who's with me on this? I should do a poll on my Instagram. I don't think there has ever been poop that has come out of this woman's butt. And if it did, I think she would return her body for a new one. She'd be like, "That is not what this is made for. It is not happening." But you have to imagine being with Terry and all of like the health things that they've done. I feel like poop would be such a sorry, I know you guys don't want talking about poop, but I feel like it would be such a massive like a, a massive part of their relationship that they would bond over bowel movements. Like, "Oh my God, Terry, I had the biggest solid movement today. You would be so proud." Her poop is diamonds. It's like coal. Like, it's like, sorry. Anyways, it's gross. And Terry goes, if one were to poop, it would be here." And then Heather's like, "If the magic were to happen, here's where it would happen." I do also like the fact, though, if we think that Heather might poop, she would leave her house to go to the penthouse because this is the poop place. And that's a good selling point for this place eventually, too, of like the one and only Dame Heather Dubrow has dookied in this penthouse apartment. Anyways, Heather is catching Terry up with, the previous episodes. Like, "Listen, we played flag football. I was the ref." And, he's like, "Oh, why were you the ref?" She's like, "I looked really good in the shirt." I'm like, "Did you? You just looked like a ref." Like, what? What? Anyways, he goes, "How are the girls?" And Heather goes, "Well, Shannon and Tamara are completely avoiding each other. Shannon and Alexis are completely avoiding each other." And Terry's like, "Right, right." Like Terry looking off onto the sunset in the distance, going like, "God damn. Like, really? I have to do this every fucking year?" Okay, yeah, Shannon and Tamara got it. Yeah, Shannon and Alexis got it. Okay. Yep. And then Heather goes, "Gina brought her friend Katie, and I'm in a really good spot with everyone." "No, you ain't, Heather, because we all talking behind your back." She goes, "I have a totally different perspective, Terry." And he's like, "In what way?" "Well, after you had the stroke, I'm not interested in nonsense." And we flash back to this past year's reunion talking about Terry going to the Ivy, which, by the way, the Ivy is kind of like Craig's restaurant where it's like a paparazzi hangout, or the Ivy used to be more so. Now it's really just Craig's. But I guess they were at the Ivy, and then after dinner, he had a stroke. He didn't realize it happened. He was crazy belligerent afterwards and not himself. She tells Harry, "I'm really proud of how we're using the stuff that happens in our lives to try and help other people." After talking so much in the press about Life 360, Heather lets us know they reached out to her, the company, and wanted to do a collab. "Hey, it's me, Heather Dubrow, doing a collab with Life 360. Brat summer, y'all. Stroke." Heather goes, we see Heather shooting a commercial for Life 360. "My husband had a stroke, and my son was smart enough to click on the app, and that is how we saved his life." And she says in a talking head, "If it saves anyone else's life because I'm talking about it, that's awesome." And by the way, it is awesome. Like I could make fun of this all day long, but it is awesome. And like if that app was really used, Life 360, y'all, here's another plug. Like, please, like that sounds good. But I do find it interesting that there was a commercial. They were like, we're using it as a storyline. Everything is content in these people's lives. So she tells Terry, "I saved my husband's life, and all I got was this crappy t-shirt." And then he goes, "Ha, ha, 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 you got me." And she goes, "Yay." Like, Terry, like, "You fucking ungrateful. Are you fucking kidding me? You poop in a penthouse. You got 2 houses. How fucking dare you say it's crappy t-shirt thing? I'm gonna go hang out with my 4 gym buddies." But he goes, "You got me and everything that brings." And she's like, "That's so exciting." In a talking head, she goes, "When Terry had the stroke, I didn't have time to break down. So we went on a trip and I walked down the beach and I bawled my fucking eyes out." We go back to the reunion where she tells the girls that she's still in shock about the stroke, hadn't processed it yet, but she will. She scheduled her breakdown for this weekend while we're away. So I guess that's the weekend. In the talking head, she says, "I just allowed myself to feel all the things and have that moment. And then as I walked down the beach, I started celebrating the what was." And Heather does all these big hand motions, like sun motions, sun salutations when she talks, which I like. Very classy. But that's a very Heather Dubrow character, like kind of scheduling a breakdown. Holly Hunter, there's a great movie, Broadcast News, that Holly Hunter does the same thing where she would schedule her times to cry. I always loved the scenes in Broadcast News with her. Anyways, Terry and Heather are watching the sunset in their penthouse. And, Terry's like, "Thank God we're here to see this. Thank God we're here to see it." And then Heather goes, "Thank God you're here to see it." It's very good acting. And I know she believes it, but it's like the camera shot's perfect. And he's like, "Yeah, I know. Although I bet the guy you'd be seeing, he'd be a lot better looking than me." And Heather's like, "He'd be taller?" "No, he'd be John Jansen." "What's up, Heather? It's me, Johnny J. Huh, funny that you came to the Quiet Woman. I've only been here every night for the last 365 days of the year. Unfortunately, and very unfortunate to hear about Terry's passing, but I like penthouses." That's can you imagine in like the multiverse of Housewives, Heather Dubrow ends up dating Johnny J. Anyways, they're cute. They're like, listen, this is a couple. Everybody said Mauricio and Kyle, they were shocked. I wasn't shocked about that. If Terry and Heather Dubrow ever break up, that would shock me. Like I will eat a shoe if Terry and Heather. I just could never see that happening. They are so made for each other. So now we're at like a rainy night in the OC, and Tamra explains to us that she just wants a core group of girls to go to a little dive bar, and we see these girls getting picked up in this kind of like stretch party limo. And she's like, "Obviously, I'm not going to invite Shannon because I just want a fun night." Ugh, make me angry when cast members don't get invited. I feel like it's designed to hurt people, which, yeah, that actually is the design. Emily on a FaceTime with Tamara says, "Yeah, it'll be good to get Gina out. She's really bummed out about this Travis thing. She's kind of depressed." So they're gonna go pick up Katie on the way. So we got a little driving scene, some fun, jaunty music, and Gina's like, "I gotta pee at Katie's. Can I pee at Katie's?" And I was like, "Hey, we all to pee." And then Emily's like, "Can I just pee in a bush?" And then guess what? Of course, now we have a scene of Tamara and Emily peeing in front of Katie's house. Like, this shit is what brings property values down. Like, Gina is classy enough to go inside the house. Gina's like, "I'm in real estate now. We can't bring down the property value." Like, Tamara's doing like a dookie. Like, she's like fully not, fully doing something Heather Dubrow will never do in her life. But anyways, they're pissing out in the front yard. And Emily says, "I don't want to pee in Katie's house because then I would have to go inside. I would have to meet her husband." Anyways, Gina's inside, like, "I'm gonna pee my pants," meeting Katie's kids. Emily says, "I don't have time for that. It's girls' night out." We see, we, we see, we see Emily pulling her pants back up, and Tamara's like, "Did you shake it?" I, I didn't realize I mean, this is how ignorant I am. I didn't realize girls have to shake their fannies like guys have to shake their wee-wees after they go pee pee. What the fuck? Am I in grade school all of a sudden? Anyways, Emily just wants to get to the location, but Tamara's making a big production of this, like falling all over each people, like just big Charlie Chaplin scene work. Anyways, everybody gets into this big stretch limo. They've all done their business, most of the people outside in the bushes. And so now they're in there to drive. And then we cut to this bar, and we have this slow motion walking in. We see like moose heads on the wall, the American flag, a lot of Happy Dad merchandise. I mean, okay, if they're at a dive bar, they all literally start ordering espresso martinis. That's not a fucking dive bar. Order a shot and a beer for the love of God. Espresso martinis? Anyways, order their they all order their mucus espresso martini. So they're at this bar, and Jen Pedranti makes a comment like, "Oh, can we get on top of the bar like in Coyote Ugly?" Like this is like the long-awaited sequel to Coyote Ugly, where the lead character just stayed working at that bar her entire life. They all sit down with their drinks, and Emily's like, "Oh, by the way, I was talking to Katie this week, when Heather did the paparazzi photos, Katie has more information about that whole situation. Now, Emily here is being a shitster. Emily is literally, it's like she's studying under the tutelage of Tamra, like young Padawan, let me show you the ways of shit stirring. And we flash back to last week's episode when Katie was sharing the story with Gina and Emily and saying, "Listen, Heather, Terry, I texted this paparazzi photo article to my friend. He's in charge of all these paparazzi photographers." I said, "Is this true? Did she hire photographers to come and take photos of her?" And he says, "Yes." And Gina immediately in the scene is like, "She's gonna get herself in trouble going up against Heather." Oh, and Emily's like, "This is exciting." Now back at the dive bar, Emily clarifies, "You said she hired paparazzi, to take these photos." And Tamara's like, "Oh, you're talking about Disneyland." Tamara in a talking head says, "Last year, Heather was dead set on it's a lie." We flash back to last season, which I kind of forgot this storyline, and it's, Tamara next to Heather and all of the ladies, and Tamara's like, "Teddy Mellencamp winning hard." Wait, who is this Teddy Mellencamp they're referring to? Telly Teddy T Ted Terry Teddy Mellencamp. No, it's Freddie Mellencamp, you guys. Anyways, Teddy Mellencamp was talking about your staged paparazzi pictures, and Heather goes, "Ha, ha, ha," but then we see the paparazzi photo, and it's Terry behind Heather Dubrow, like a prom photo, and Heather, like, pointing something out at Disneyland, and Heather, in this scene from last year, goes, "I am not going to give light to that. It is not true." Tamara in the talking head says, "She yelled at me, she yelled at Emily." And then back in that scene from last year, Heather's like, "Are you literally accusing me of this?" And Tamara's like, "No, it's just suspicious. I'm a" the subtext there is, "I'm a shit stirrer. This is what I do." Anyways, Heather had left that with, "Think whatever you want, Tamara." So in the dive bar, Tamara goes, "So you're telling me she alerted the paparazzi that she was gonna be at Disneyland?" And Katie shakes her head, "Yes." Tamara says, "Here comes Katie, a little gift from God." It makes me feel a little vindicated if I'm not gonna lie. See, this is wild. And Heather, you're probably not listening, but this is why you gotta pay attention to Tamra. Tamra is not your friend. I like that she says, "Katie, a little gift from God." I mean, you can see the girl boner Tamra has. All of the girls have such a girl boner for this information. It is so funny. Like, yeah, you guys are all friends, sure. Like, do friends really root against each other like this? Of like, "Ha ha ha, we got her in a bullshit lie." Now, will I say, do these paparazzi photos look staged? Yeah, they kind of do. They kind of do. Or maybe just Terry and Heather just kind of have a staged vibe a lot. I don't know, but it does look staged. And I was thinking about paparazzi photos just as a nation. We all know the paparazzi at this day and age. Like, paparazzi photos, like during Scandal, paparazzi were everywhere trying to get pictures of Tom, Ariana, and stuff like that because this was like a huge story breaking. Now, I know, listen, trying to say this nicely. Is there a huge demand for paparazzi photos of Terry and Heather Dubrow? And I'm not saying like obviously they're rich, they're famous, they're successful, but like you need a demand usually for paparazzi photos. Like there's got to be this demand where paparazzi are out there staking you out. That's why Bronwyn, it was always so funny with her because it was like, Bronwyn, I swear to God, these people aren't driving down to the OC to get shots of you frolicking on the beach. Like there's just no part of me that believes that. And I don't know why they always so hold true to this. I don't know if they're like crossing their fingers behind their back of like, yeah, I'm not lying, I'm crossing my fingers, or what the mentality here is. It's like, so what? Yeah, like you called paparazzi. Yeah, fine. Like, who cares? I kind of assume you did anyways. Um, but I sometimes find it hard to believe that the paparazzi went all the way to Disneyland to get a shot of Heather and Terry Dubrow. I mean, like, I don't know, like, maybe you didn't call the paparazzi directly, but maybe you had your assistant do it. I mean, there are relationships that you form with these people and in this industry, and you do tip people off. Dude, I get tipped off all the time about shit now, and it's just part of this kinda gig, I feel like. I don't know. It's such an interesting conversation and argument that will come up season after season in these housewife shows, and we never get clarification on it. Anyways, Tamara feels vindicated, and Tamara in the scene goes, "Do you have proof of that?" And Katie goes, "I have a screenshot of it." Woo! And Tamara's like, "Party time! Excellent!" Emily's all smiling. Gina's the only one with a face of like, "Oh, zoinks! I don't know. This is crazy." And that's when we go to our first commercial break. We come back, and Katie is now explaining more about the proof that she has. So Katie says, "I saw it in the press, so I screenshot that. I sent it to my dear friend of mine and Matt's, her husband, who is in charge of all paparazzi." I do think it is funny that in Katie's world, there is one person in charge of all paparazzi. It is the dark overlord of paparazzi, the emperor of paparazzi. Like, I don't believe there is one person in charge of all paparazzi. I do know there are photo agencies, but even like you have X17, right? You have Backgrid, you have all of these different companies. I don't think there's one guy in charge of all of it, even though I do believe that people know what the assignments are around town, you know? Um, so Katie goes, "I mean, this guy is on speed dial for Kim Kardashian." And then Tamara goes, "And Heather Dubrow too?" And Kitty goes, "Yeah, she has his information." And Tamara's like, "Oh my God." Emily goes, "She denied it. She lied to all of us." And Tamara's like, "Are you saying anything to her?" And Gina's like, "Well, she sent me this shit and I told her, don't ever bring this up. And I didn't even tell you. And I was so proud of myself," Gina said. Now, Gina is being a real friend here. Gina's like, "I didn't talk about it. I told her not to." And they're like, "Yeah, she's so protective of Heather." And Tamara goes, "Yeah, who cares? This is who Tamara is right here. This is who it is. Yeah, who cares?" Tamara cares to your face, behind your back. She roots for your downfall. That is what it is. We see these examples time and time again, but she is a necessary character. That's why she is a legend at this shit, man. But Gina goes, "Well, Heather is going to care." And Tamara goes, no, Katie goes, "I thought it was really silly and stupid." And I'm like, "I heard that she denied it." And I was like, "Why didn't you just own it? Like, who cares?" And Tamara is like, "Fuck. Heather does not like surprises. She doesn't like to be called a liar." And then Emily's like, "I gotta pee again." And I figure that means Emily just goes out in front of the building instead of the bathroom. Who knows? Tamara in a talking head goes, "Bye, Katie. Nice knowing you." This is what I'm talking about. Tamara celebrates the downfall of Katie having this information that she's praising for having this information. It is a dark, tangled web we weave. Now, Katie goes back into this whole tagging the Instagram photo that I'm still a little confused on. She's like, "Heather tagged me in her birthday photo." Okay. And Tamara's like, "I saw that, Katie. She did." And Gina was like, "It was nothing. It was a mistake." Tamara goes, "Does she follow you?" And Katie's like, "No." And Gina goes, "No, it was an accident, but she clearly was looking up Katie." And Tamara's like, "Ah," like overly laughing. And Katie goes, "I definitely do not think it was an accident in a talking head that Heather tagged me 12 hours after she posted her birthday post." When I asked her if she meant to tag me in her Instagram post, and we flash back to a scene shot with Heather and Katie. Katie's explaining to Heather Dubrow. She says, "I woke up one morning and I was tagged in your birthday post." And then Heather does a really good job of like, huh, like her face looks so concerned looking at her phone. And Katie's like, "She acted surprised." And then we see Heather find it and go, "Oh my God, that's so weird," and holds up her phone. Katie in a talking head goes, "She said, oh, I don't even know how to tag people." And then back to Heather in this scene goes, "I have a social media person, so I haven't been doing my own posting." Heather immediately throws a social media person under the bus. It was a rogue social media person that did this. It was ridiculous. This rogue social media person. I am going to have to fire her and ruin her life. Anyways, in the talking head, Heather goes, "I was wearing a Givenchy dress. So the GI, when Julia, my social media person, was typing it in, Janella must have popped up." That must have been what happened. That's insane, first off. Like, you have to follow the person if that is actually going to be true. Like, I've made some mistakes tagging people, but I mean, that's a real long leap to make. Anyways, in the flashback scene, Heather Dubrow goes, "Okay, Katie, first I'm going to follow you, okay? And then I'm going to untag you." And then Katie in a talking head goes, "And when you're caught, why don't you just own it? Just own it." Lisa Rinna, "Just own it. I'm Lisa Rinna. Own it, baby." Anyways, Emily's talking to the bartender going, "When are we gonna dance on the bar? I just pissed. Let's do this." Anyways, back at the table, Tamara goes, "You can't just tag somebody and not follow them. You have to write their name out." So Emily's like, "Are you ready for this? Let's go live out your Coyote Ugly fantasy, Tamara." You know, Tamara's always ready to dance on a bar. So this is like, one of those fun, like, girl gang. They're all like grabbing each other in their leather pants or on the bar. People are like spraying water on them. I don't know. Gina's the only one of like, "I'm not doing this. It's going to ruin my reputation in real estate." So Katie and Gina are just watching them, but, like, they're going for it. I mean, Emily's just yelling out, "Shot, shot." She's like LMFAO, "Shot, shot, shot, shots." Tamara says, "I don't know, maybe it's the '80s coming out of me, but who doesn't wanna be in a Whitesnake video?" Now, I feel like this is very hurtful to Shannon Bedore because she loves the '80s. Shannon would love to be on a bar. Very hurtful. Anyways, Katie says in a talking head, "I don't put my badge in people's faces unless it's Matt." Great line, right? Great line. Anyways, we see Tamara like chugging out of a Grey Goose bottle. And Gina's going, "What the fuck? What?" And Gina goes, "I've definitely put in some quality work on the book, but I'm retired and I'm happy about that." Hell yeah, Gina. Jen comes back to the table and goes, "I'm sticky as fuck." Gina tells Emily, whispers, goes, "The whole thing with Katie, I don't know what to do." And Emily goes, "What about?" "Well, I feel bad. Everybody knows about this other situation." I always like these kind of conversations because Emily should be like, Gina, hey, we're on Real Housewives, right? Okay. Just want to make sure you're aware because this literally is what the show does. Like, that's what the show is about. So, like, that's how this all works. You've been here for a long time." Anyways, Emily goes, "Katie needs to eat some fucking Wheaties. She needs to drink a protein shake. She needs to, like, focus because Heather's gonna fucking destroy her," and, like, laughs, and Gina's like, "Oh," and we see Gina taking selfies with the other girls, totally, like, just, very innocent, not realizing that the destroyer Dubrow will come down and, get her by the end of this season. I just all love that they're just like, they love the information. They totally believe Katie, but at the same time, they're like, "Oh, she's gonna die. Heather's gonna rip her from limb." I love it. Okay, we come to a new scene. It's jaunty, fun music. We hear a dog barking, and that's Archie. And Archie, we have a shot of Archie just laying on the floor like Shannon Bedore. Floor Bedore. Archie laying on the floor like Shannon Bedore, laying on the floor. There's the door. Shannon Bedore laying on the floor. And Archie, there's a shot of Archie, just like I said earlier, just like, really? We're doing this again? I've asked not to be on camera this season. And last week, you tried to burn me in the fireplace, and this week, I can't do this. And Shannon's like, "You sleeping, Archie?" And Archie like, I was sleeping. "Archie, what's all this red on the floor? Did you step in something red?" Archie's like, "I murdered John Jansen for you, Shannon." Anyways, we see the one, the only OG of the OC, Vicky Gunvalson, coming coming into Shannon's place. And Vicky's like, "Hi, Archie. Hi." And Archie's like, "Fuck. No. Vicky's here? I can't keep doing this with you ladies." Anyways, Vicky's like, "We have so much to catch up on. I have a staph infection." Poor Vicky, she's a legend. And like the first line out of her mouth is, "We have so much to catch up on. I'm oozing. I have a staph infection all on my body. Do you want to see it?" Anyways, Vicky goes, "The doctor didn't want me to leave the hospital. I checked myself out because I said I'm very, very busy. Do you want to see it in the bathroom?" And Shannon goes, "It's gross. If I go like this and squeeze, yellow pus comes out of me." And then the doctor goes, "How's your vagina?" The doctor, I'm like, my vagina's perfect. Is it coming out of there? This lady has given us so much, and I feel it's the insanity of Vicky of this legend coming on and going, "Do you wanna see the ooze in my staph If I squeeze my tummy, ooze comes out, but the old vagina's great." And "Shannon, hey, do you wanna go in the bathroom and see it?" Archie's like, "Jesus! A staph infection?" And I like the thought of Vicky escaping from a hospital of like, "Ma'am, you can't leave. I've got insurance to sell. I need to leave." Anyways, Shannon goes, "Geez, Vicky." And Vicky goes, "Gotta stay healthy." And Shannon goes, "God's way of telling you to slow down." And Vicky goes, I'm going full speed." Vicky is coming off more and more like Kramer from Seinfeld. I'm like, "Yeah, you bet it, Jerry. You got it." In a talking head, Vicky goes, "I don't want to be slowing down because then you're sedentary. Then the grass is going to grow around you and you're not going to be able to see through it. Then there's going to grass and like staph infection pus." I like being busy. I'm a type A girl. I've got enough money to retire if I wanted to, but what would I do? Now, of course, this week in the news, Vicky, somebody is suing her, which we'll probably get into on Monday's Pop Culture Roundup. But yeah, Vicky's definitely busy. Shannon goes, "We have a lot coming up." And Vicky goes, What are we gonna do about our show?" Oh, good. What are we gonna do about our show, Shannon?" And we have a reality TV headline that says, "I didn't do anything. Tamara Judge gives glimpse into twisted drama that led her to back out of the Trace Amigas comedy tour." They act like this is like Dave Chappelle or something. Shannon goes, "I said to Tamara, do you want to sit down?" And we flash back to that scene, and Tamara goes, "No, I actually don't want to sit down." And Vicky laughs, goes, and then Vicky goes, "Okay, then I don't want to talk either. I don't want to talk to you either." So Shannon goes, "So I said, fine, fine, fine. It's just that we finally had the show down, you know? This is okay." Shannon and Vicky crack me up. And Doug Buden from the Jeff Lewis show, he's going to be on So Bad It's Good next week. And he is kind of the host of their new show, and he's been on tour with them, and I can't wait to talk to him about it because it has gotta be, like, just a ringleader of just getting these people to focus. Like, it's gotta be one of Doug's toughest jobs that he's ever and Doug is the sweetest, nicest person that you will ever meet, and it is I wanna see this show because it has got to be high comedy to watch these 2 ladies just bounce off of each other and Doug. It's what and oh, this weekend, you guys, Jeff Lewis, because I now get to do that show every week, or have been able to get to do that show every week. And Jeff is in We Care Spa, which is in Desert Springs, like near Palm Springs in California. And it's this place where you detox. You do not eat anything. You just have a lot of fancy juices and all. You're trying to detox your body of all the impurities. He's there with Shannon Bedore and Beverly D'Angelo, the actor from all the vacation movies, plays the mom. I mean, an amazing actor. You know, Beverly D'Angelo used to date Al Pacino. Hoa! But like, and also Joey Zauzig, the influencer, and they're all there. And I mean, like, that's a fucking reality show right there. Like, Jeff, that's a reality show. Like Shannon Bedore, Jeff Lewis, Beverly D'Angelo, Joey Zauzig. I just don't, I mean, that is why I cannot wait to hear how that all went, but it just seems like insanity. And Shannon is telling Vicky about the show. We worked hard on it. And I talking next, she goes, "The Trace and Mika show was very fun. Our first show, we sold out like in 3 days." Vicky in the scene goes, "I'm just excited about just you and me, because 'cause it'll be like Ethel and Elise, Thelma and Louise, and Ethel and Lucy and Laverne and Shirley. There was only 2 all the time anyways." Shannon says, "We sang, we danced, we did little skits, we had audience participation, it was just kind of a variety show." And we see clips of the past Trace Amiga show where they're dressed up like the 3 amigos. And Shannon goes, "I was excited about where we could go. Broadway, baby." Vicky goes, "Tara didn't have the balls to call me or Shannon to tell us that she didn't want to be part of the show anymore. She has vinegar running through her veins and a black heart. Good riddance." She has vinegar running through her veins and a black heart. It's a little lengthy for a shirt, but I like it. She has vinegar running through her veins and a black heart. Damn. She has, I mean, and on top, she has vinegar running through her, and she's coming up with these lines on top of a staph infection. Um, Then Shannon's like, "Should we call Paris and see how things are going?" And Vicky's like, "Yeah, yeah." And I guess Paris is like their manager or director or something, their manager. And Vicky's like, "Let's talk about the show. We're gonna just say it's the Shannon Vicky show, without the Tracy Vegas." And Shannon goes, "Is there a lot of fallout because Tamara's not a part of it any?" And Paris goes, "Yeah, I definitely think there's some fallout. I mean, mental fallout, financial fallout." And Vicky goes, "She owes us for that, right? She owes us. This is a business." Shannon goes, "It's a way to make additional income. I've got 3 kids in college. I'm still single. It was devastating to me." Vicky goes, "I am really upset with her. You don't do this in business. We had an LLC. We had merchandise. I'm pissed." And Paris goes, I think it'll be fine." And by the way, they have like a lot of his background blurred out, but you can see that he has like a gold record framed for Shaggy. Shag Shaggy. So I guess this Paris guy's worked with Shaggy in the past. I'm looking at his bookcase right now. It looks like he has a Paul McCartney book, a book on creative artists agency, but he's worked with the Trace Amigas and Shaggy. Um, so Paris says, "You'll be fine. I do think you guys need to get your hustle on promoting." And then they start singing, "Just the two of us. We're the Dos Amigas." And Paris just has a blank face. And then they do a shot of Archie going like, fuck, fuck. Like you just it's just like, "No, man, I didn't like it when it was Trace. I didn't like it was Dose. Can we just let's calm it down." Anyway, Shannon goes, "Well, thank you, Paris. Talk to you soon. Goodbye. Thank you." Vicky's like, "Oh, I'm gonna put my lipstick back on because it came off when I was drinking all my 400 pills." See, Vicky and Shannon are both like they just can't help but be themselves. I've gotta put my lipstick back on because of drinking 400 pills. Anyway, Shannon goes, "I gotta tell you something. I got a letter from a lawyer representing John Jansen and that I owe him $75,000." And it's like, boom, you owe John. You paid for all the upgrades and all the flights. I like the upgrades. You would book standard seating, but you paid for upgrades. You bought all of his clothing, all his cool Johnny J leather goods, all his boat paraphernalia. Now I want an itemized list. Boat paraphernalia. What does that even mean? And Vicky goes, and that's only the stuff I know. He's a jerk. Yeah, women supporting women. And Shady goes, what is he trying to do? And Vicky goes, "He doesn't work, right?" And Shannon goes, I don't know what his job status is. I guess I could check on LinkedIn. I don't know." And Vicky goes, "When you guys broke up, he wasn't working." Vicky in a talking to goes, "He's a bad guy. It wasn't my place to say anything. It was like somebody telling me that Brooks wasn't good for me." Now we flash back to a reunion talking about Brooks, where Tamara goes, "I said I don't think he's good for you." And Vicky's like, "How do you know what's good for me?" And Tamara going, "That's my opinion," which is a great Housewives line. Vicky goes, "We're not gonna listen. We gotta find out ourselves." Back in the scene, Shannon starts tearing up. "He is going to say I owe him 75,000. Do you know that if you go to court, it will cost more than $75,000 to pay attorney fees?" And Vicky goes, "I know, I know." And Shannon and I talking to goes, "He knows how much I contribute to my kids. That he would do this is unbelievable to me. He's an asshole," she says. "Sorry." And Vicky goes, "That really bothers me." Shannon goes, "Yeah, he's trying to hurt me." And Vicky goes, "Oh, well, oh," and does her fake retch. "Can I ask you a question, Shannon? Why is that boob smaller than this boob?" Finally, we're getting to the meat of the scene. And she's like, "Really?" And Vicky's like, "Yeah, it looks like you have 2 oranges and in there that are lopsided." And Shannon's playing with her boobs. Archie is fully just like jumped out of the window at this point. But that's what I'm yeah, she does have 2 oranges for she gets double oranges. Like, they're all holding the orange in the cast photo. Shannon should be holding 2 oranges. That's how important she is to this show. Ah, poor Shanna Rita. Shanna. Oh, Shannon. Oh, and Vicky. But I'm glad that they support each other. Tamara, I guess, was probably like Tamara's crazy too, but she's crazy in a different way. She's like crazy in this kind of mean way. I don't know. I'm just glad that they have each other to back each other up. But it's sad, man. And this John Jansen thing, $75,000 for a facelift. Is that the going rate of facelifts? By the way, excellent work. By the way, excellent work. Now, Shannon said, she like, listen, once I got this, I offered to pay John the $75,000, but he still wanted to go through the lawyers. And I think that is just so shitty. And now I am curious about John Jansen's work situation, right? Anyways, we're in a new scene and this like fun music. Baby, it's just you and I. Time to realize. And Ryan, we're over at Jen Padronte's in Ryan's place. And Jen is says she's trying to learn how to put on her own eyelashes. This is when you know she's really struggling. She can't get professionally put on eyelashes anymore. So she's doing it herself. That that's a hero in my mind. So it turns out they're gonna go to Vegas. So they're gonna go to Vegas. They turn out they're gonna go to the Sphere. I wonder if they went to see U2. I can't imagine they went and saw Fish or the Grateful Dead or Dead& Company. Anyways, Jen goes, "So are we saying I can't post pictures in Vegas?" And Ryan's like, "Why?" And Jen's like, "Because everybody will be judgy pants because my broke ass is going to Vegas." And Ryan's like, "They're gonna be judgy any." And Jen's like, "You don't even let me pay for anything ever." Emily took another jab last night, and we flash back to the going out night, and Emily's like, "Is that my coat?" And Jen's like, "Yeah." And then Emily goes, "You look like you have money with that coat on." And Jen goes, "I don't." And Emily goes, "I know." God, Emily. When Emily drinks, man, she is on fire. Jen tells Ryan, let's say if Emily fell in a hard spot, I don't feel like people would be like, oh, Emily's broke and she's going out of town. I also don't know if Shane would be like jetting off to Vegas with Emily. I don't know. It was Jen goes, if we were married, nobody would even think that. And Ryan's like, yeah, yeah. In a talking head, Jen goes, I am constantly judged by this group because I mean, I moved in with my boyfriend because my house is still big and my car is still nice. And they seem to want to criticize everything I do and every penny I have or don't have. Ryan goes, look, I will tell you this. Bank accounts come and go, but being rich in your soul and your spirit, who you are as a person, and Jen's like, obviously they come and go. Also, I kind of get a little like, "Ugh, Ryan, don't talk about finances. This could get used against you in court one day because, you know, we'll find out later. But Ryan, I think there's some financial wrongdoing potentially. So yeah, weird stuff. Anyways, Ryan's like, let it go. Those are her issues, Emily. And Jen is like, it doesn't feel good. I think so Jen starts tearing up. Man, we should drink every time they tear up on a housewife show. I mean, we would get alcohol poisoning, but it's a lot of tearing up all the time. I don't know why I'm just realizing this. She goes, I think I'm hyper sensitive to where I sit right now in life and to feel like I am not equivalent to the women in my life pisses me off. She's like, I feel like Gina must have felt the first 3 seasons of OC. Ryan goes, you're going through chaos right now. And she's like, I know my head is so there's just not a lot of space. And Ryan's like, I feel that there's not a lot of space in your head. And she tells us in a talking head, the yoga studio opened in COVID. So we worked out a modified rent with our landlord at the time. When a new landlord stepped in, they served us with a lawsuit for back rent that we did not pay during COVID. Now, if they worked out some sort of deal, is that even legal to then do that? I mean, it seems so shady. Ryan goes, you said the agreement you had with the previous landlord was a verbal one. See, nothing verbal. No, no, no. This is exactly the same thing as something with her lawsuit with Penny Davidi and Katie and Ariana. The verbal stuff doesn't really fly. Ryan goes, I mean, the new landlord coming in, they're going to go off the last written contract. And says, we negotiated an amount and we are making payments for the back rent. So now she didn't pay that the Gina rent, right? And now she's paying the rent on the yoga studio, the back rent. Damn. He goes, I'm gonna have to figure it out. I gotta put my big girl pants on. I don't want to think about the studio. And Ryan goes, you know what I'm ready for? And Jen goes, naked French fries. He goes, I can't wait. Bathtub, naked fries, and a Diet Coke tonight. Remember, this is the couple that drinks Malibu rum and Diet Coke. They're intense. Anyways, we get out of that scene, and then it's nighttime, Orange County, and we hear some Spanish music, and we see Katie and her husband Matt. They're going into to dinner. So we get to kind of see how they work as a couple by telling us this story about her dating Matt. And the first time they were going on a date, he kind of stood her up, and the reason was he was tired. He had to get up at 3 a.m. But how do you stand somebody up? How do you not tell them that? Anyway, she says we kept talking, and I was going through a divorce at the time. He was really patient with me, and then he was like, "Okay, I'll wait," and he did. Anyways, she tells us that she's planning this golf event for the ladies. My husband will be there, a swing coach, he'll do lessons, we can get a couple tips, and we do a previous day scene, and she's like, "I was thinking of hosting you girls at Monarch Beach," right? So she tells her husband, chipping, putting, driving on the driving range, we'll have some cocktails, and then back in the flashback scene, Katie's like, "We'll call it drinking and driving," and Shannon Bedore's there, and Shannon's face is like, "Zoo? Zoo? What?" Drinking and, like, driving the ball, but damn. Damn. And, Katie tells her husband, Heather says, "We should come up with a, different title for the event. Let's rework that and, rebrand that," and Shannon's, like, kind of smiling and kind of looking down, and Katie's explaining to Matt, "Well, Shannon just got a DUI." And he's like, "Oh, Jesus. Oh my god." So I was like, "Shit, how about sipping and chipping?" Sipping and chipping, which it's like, it's not shipping and chipping, sipping and Shannon's like, "I work for ShipStation." No. How about sipping it? How about, sipping and running a car into a house? Oh, that's not good either. Oh god, I can't think of a good name. Katie says, "I put my foot in my mouth a lot, but that was possibly the worst time." So, but that's funny, sipping and chipping, driving and drinking, whatever. Anyways, so that's embarrassing. And then Katie starts telling Matt, "Oh my God, I didn't tell you about Jen." And Matt's like, "You like Jen, right?" And she goes, "Yeah, I shared that with that group at the brunch, how I was adopted." She told me that she adopted one of her children. And we flash back to that scene where she says, "We adopted our youngest. He's the 9-year-old, and he'll say some things sometimes. Why don't I have skin like you?" And I went through all of that, which is probably really important conversations to have when you are, have an adopted child. Like, that's a real life issue. So she's telling all this to Matt, and Katie goes, "I don't know. Like, my parents didn't have any biological children, but you're a good mom for even wondering and trying to make that work, you know?" My parents didn't ask anything like that. She says, "My parents could have helped me dive into my culture a little more than they did. I absolutely think they didn't want me to feel different, and maybe that's why they didn't. But growing up having no culture," she says, "I definitely wanted my kids to know their background because that's their roots. That's where their heart is." Matt says, "I think your parents did a great job of just doing the best they can. And she says, "Yeah, that's all they knew." And then Matt goes, "Quite a circle of friends." I'm like, "Matt, you have no idea, man. You got to fucking run, Matt. Matt, I'm telling you, you just run, dude. You got quite a circle of friends. Give me it, Matt. Do not participate. Run, Matt. Run. Code orange." Anyways, Kitty goes, "Just getting to know Orange County here." Poor Matt, man. But I like that though you do have those little interspersed real life things like adoption and things like that because those are real stories. That's the foundation of shows like this, or at least it should be. Okay, we go to commercial, we come back. It's daytime in the OC. Where are we going to land this time? And we land at Gina's. We're in Gina's home, which Gina's home kind of looks like an Airbnb. There's a lot of like live, laugh, love signs on the wall, that kind of vibe, like a little, we all know the kind of place. It looks nice, but Katie comes in and she brings gifts for the kids. And Gina's like, "Today I had a busy day. I had to go on a Zoom. So everybody's at Travis's house because you know that but it's good. It's good. We're good." And Katie's like, but he lives here." She's like, "Yeah, up the road, literally up the road. I just made him move up the road." Gina lets us know it's really weird to spend the night in my house without Travis. It's lonely. We flash back to Gina in bed with her dog Meatball saying, "Meatball, I'm glad you're here because there's too much room in the bed. I miss Travis." And in a talking head, she goes, "It feels like we broke up, and that feels shitty. So it's not great. It's not great." Also, I love those little interspersed scenes where we watch a housewife go to bed because I'm like, we don't see anything else. So, like, what does like the camera guy like? Do they like "Hey, I'll leave the door unlocked. I'm going to bed. You can bring the camera crew in just to get a quick shot of me in bed." Like, to me, those are some of the phonier scenes in the show because I'm like, "Wait a sec, Gina has to, like, get up, let him in, and go, 'Okay, I'm gonna act like I'm going to bed.'" Like, do they let themselves out? Like, it just doesn't like, I get the need of it for the storytelling aspect of it. Anyways, they go upstairs, and Gina talks about having a contractor coming over because Sienna and Luke, her kids, they wanna, like, have, like, split the room and, like, run a curtain halfway through the room, which would actually kinda be cool. I think, and Katie thinks that would be cool too. And Gina's like, "Oh, in theory, but now I have to make this happen. Come on. I've got too much on my plate." I would like now that Travis is out, they get like, well, each one of the kids get 2 rooms. Okay, so now we're over at Tamara's place, and Emily's coming over there, and, Tamara has Emily come in, and she's like, "I'm just looking at I'm looking through my mom's casita, she just moved out," and we see this, like, kind of dark patchwork on the wall, and Emily goes, "What's this from?" And Tamara's like, "Oh, well, the headboard of the bed used to be on this wall." So she's saying that her mom was getting the hippity dip, like banging into the wall. And we flash back to last season when Tamara's mom and Tamara were talking about Tamara's mom's boyfriend, David. And we see this rough photo of David where he's like, "Hey, it's me, David. I banged Tamara's mom." And talk about David spending the night a lot lately. And we flash back to a scene where Tamara's mom was like, "The very first night we had sex was at Eddie's birthday party." And Eddie's like, "Happy birthday to me." Man, Tamara's mom getting her head banged into a wall by David. Whew, too much. Too much. Anyways, Tamara's gonna make an espresso drink, but then Tamara has that like CBD company or the she has all those products, right? Is it Bina? Anyway, she's like, "Oh," Emily's like, "I want one of those." And Emily's like, "Can you mix espresso and THC?" And Tamara's like, "Oh, yeah. I mean, you might not feel anything." I'm like, "That's dangerous shit. THC on top of an espresso drink?" Anyways, there's like a little charcuterie board, put out there. They're sitting outside. I thought this was gonna turn into a scene where, like, they were gonna start doing, like, Cheech and Chong, like, "Whoa, I'm so stoned." Anyways, Emily's like, "What is this, TCH? What THC?" I like when housewives act like marijuana, like they've never heard of it. What is this? What TCBY? THC? What? Anyways, Emily's like, "Is that pot?" And Tamara's like, "Yep, the devil's lettuce." And then Emily goes, "You're a devil bitch." So, and Tamara's like, "I know, right?" And we flash back to Emily and Tamara saying, "I'm glad we're friends. I am too." Listen, I don't know. Tamara says, "I was shocked when Gina said that she had a little issue with us being friends, Emily." We flash back to Heather's party a couple episodes ago, and Gina's like, "I feel like my best friend got stolen. You stole my best friend, Tamara." And Tamara goes, "I want to be friends with everybody." Well, not Shannon Bedore. Anyways, Emily goes, "Yeah, I was shocked that Gina said that too." I don't really think it's that serious. I don't think it's that serious either. And Tamara goes, "Well, I mean, Gina's been hanging out with Katie a lot." And then we cut back to the Katie Gina scene, and Katie is showing Gina her friends' dresses and outfits. I don't know. And she's showing like holding up like outfits. And you can tell that Gina doesn't like the outfit that she's holding up, you know? So she's showing all of this stuff that she's going to give to these housewives, like showing all these products, right? And she's like, "I'll try it on. Let me try it on. Woo! It's model Gina." Anyways, Katie says, "Heather text me. I heard you're giving us clothing." And I said, "But you don't have to wear it, Heather. It's a gift, you know?" And Gina goes, "Can I talk to you about this?" Well, I just wanted to talk about this paparazzi. I just wanted to talk to you about this. Well, and Katie said, "Well, what do you think about this situation with Heather?" I thought it was silly. And Gina's like, "Well, I know that, but she's not gonna think that this is silly and light." We flash back to Emily and Tamara, and Emily's like, "You know what bothers me about those photos of Heather and Terry at Disneyland?" And Heather goes, "She was adamant that she didn't do that." And Tamara goes, "I mean, I knew. It was obviously staged. Obviously. Come on." In a talking head, Katie goes, "Heather is with Terry," and he's, like, hugging her like it's a prom pose, and now Tamra is reenacting the prom pose with Emily, and we see the photo again, and it does look staged, and Katie in a talking head goes, it's silly," and then Emily goes, "Tamra, you gotta make an awkward face so it doesn't look like we set it up." Tamara in a talking head goes, she loves her picture taken. She loves to go to places like Craig's where the paparazzi's outside. Now, I will say that is true. If you're at Craig's restaurant, right, by the way, which is right near Sir, the paparazzi is always there. So that's not staged. Those are actual, but that's why a lot of kind of people go to Craig's so they can get, if you see somebody at Craig's, they kind of are at least a willing participant in getting their picture taken. Anyways, Tamara says, I think that's why she likes LA. I think she thinks that's good for her career, and that's fine. A lot of celebrities do that. I personally don't give a shit. You know what? I actually believe Tamara on this. I don't think Tamara is a paparazzi caller on herself person. I think she's like a telling information about her castmates kind of person. Back to Gina and Katie. Gina's like, well, it was attached to some stupid rumor about Heather and Terry. But then beyond that, Tamara accused Heather of staging those paparazzi photos last season. And Heather got mad at Emily for not defending her and obviously denied it. So I just don't know what to do now in this situation. But I just know that Heather's going to be pissed. But and then Tamara, back to that scene, goes, I feel like when somebody gets really mad like that, they're guilty. And she's like laughing. Emily goes, it's just funny when someone, and Tamara goes, no, it's just funny when Heather Dubrow gets caught. That's what it is. And Emily and I talking to her goes, it's a little bit of vindication, right? It's also, I would like for fancy pants to actually get caught with her fancy pants around her ankles for once because I would find that amusing. Emily going to the dark side. But I understand the point. Yeah, man. If somebody's like preaching high and mighty, all this stuff, sometimes it's, you don't want them to get knocked down a peg, but you do want to be like, come on, like at least be honest about this situation. It's all right, right? Whew. But I do think it's going to be funny because Katie has to take the brunt of this when they're all in support of Heather, like some kind of Heather downfall. So Tamara goes, "That's you know what? Like I'm just so happy I'm not like that. That's why I like Big Bear. There's no paparazzi there." And then Emily goes, "I have a number you could call if you would like to tell them that you'll be in Big Bear." And Tamara goes, "No, I'm good. No, I'm good." Oh, Tamara, Mother Teresa of Housewives, the moral center of Housewives. But yeah, I believe that Tamara doesn't call paparazzi on herself. And if, by the way, if there was paparazzi in Big Bear, yeah, somebody probably called them. Anyways, back in the Gina, Katie, and Katie's like, "Yeah, I thought it was silly, and that's why I first told you before I met any of these girls." Like, I know, yeah. But now the newest thing, I have a friend, Cynthia. Oh my God, you guys, we get a photo of Katie and Cynthia motherfucking Bailey from Real Housewives of Atlanta. Katie has now brought in Sutton and Cynthia Bailey. And Katie's like, "Yeah, I just saw Cynthia the other day for lunch." And Heather's like, new to the social circle she's in. I think she moved to LA. I think that she's trying to, and she's like, she feels protective of her LA group. And Katie's like, yeah, I think she does. And Cynthia like posted a picture with Heather. She went to a birthday party that Heather was invited to. And we see a photo of Heather Dubrow, Crystal Kung Minkoff, Cynthia Bailey, and Aaron Leachy from Real Housewives of New York. Katie goes, I saw her for lunch the other day, and she was like, I went to this thing and I walked in. The first person to beeline for me was Heather, Cynthia says. And she said, oh, hi, I'm Heather. Nice to meet you. How do you know Katie Janela? Like, wanted to know everything about me. That was the only question she asked. And that's the only thing she wanted. Katie in the talking head says, I do think a lot of weird things that have happened between Heather and I. And I hope that when I approach Heather with this, maybe we can move on. Maybe we can move on. And Gina's like, just talk to her. I'm nervous now because everybody knows. Because I'm friends with Heather, I want you to have an opportunity to talk to her. And I think that's the right thing for you to do. But if you don't do that, I'm gonna tell Heather. I mean, that's Gina being a good friend, right? Um, but I do love that Cynthia Bailey now is involved in this, and it is a little confusing to me. Like, I do believe there's something weird going on, but it's not weird. I don't think it's that weird for Heather to, poke around and try to find out more about Katie if she knew Katie was going to be on the show. but I do believe all of these housewives collect information on each other. We see it in Jersey. I mean, it's all coming out. So it's not unheard of. It's a little weird, yeah. And it's weird when Heather is trying to act like it's all these other things. And I mean, at one point, I just think Heather would be like, oh, yeah, I was trying to find out about you. I don't know you. Are you crazy? Are you nuts? Are you angry? I'm asking everybody. Anyways, so we cut to this next scene and we see we we are at Shannon Bedore's house, and Shannon Bedore is just smothering self tanner on her legs. She's like, "This is not how we do it. Oh, it's already uneven. Oh, Poor Archie. He's like, fuck." So we're doing the round robin. So we went to Shannon's, and then we're over at Gina's. She's talking to Emily on FaceTime. They're all talking about what they should wear for this event, the golf events, right? We see video of Jen Pedronti at the Sphere in Vegas, and Gina's telling Emily, well, maybe instead of going to the Sphere in Vegas, you go to work and you make a payment, right? And don't post it on Instagram. How much you want to bet that Jen paid for professional makeup for this golf thing today? And Emma's like, oh, I'm sure she's doing that. Now we go over to Jen, and Jen is getting makeup done. So I guess there's the answer on that. But now remember, Jen Pedronti said on Watch What Happens Live that that's in trade. She does that in trade. So probably just promotion on her Instagram. So now we're at Katie's golf event. Matt, her husband's bringing in all the gift bags. Matt says, beautiful day. And Katie's like, good day for golf. Katie's like, golf is traditionally very conservative, among other things, etiquette. That's why you don't have a housewife scene. If any of this is to do with etiquette, there's no etiquette in housewives. Matt says, I'm your caddy today. And she's like, you're definitely my caddy, daddy. This is good. I like you carrying my bags. Katie and the Talking Heads says the balls they're talking about all the time are not necessarily the balls that I talk about all the time. I'm thinking golf balls. They're thinking John Jansen's balls. Oh, Johnny J balls. No, Johnny J balls. Please no. Anyways, we meet the instructor that's gonna help the girls with their golf strokes and, like, tips. So now we see the walk-ins, like, Tamara's walking in with her aloe outfit, Heather's walking in with her big gift, Gina's walking in, you know, uh, Katie sees Tamara, "You look so cute." Heather walks in a talking head, she goes, "Listen, I have 4 children, I have done my time at mini golf." She goes, she gives Katie the gift. She goes, "Enjoy the Dom." Like a fucking Dom Perignon bottle. Insane. Also, Heather is wearing this very fancy outfit and it has a heart on the left, left shoulder area, and it says STFU, like shut the fuck up. So I do wonder if Heather almost knew she was coming into some kind of situation that was going to be about her. I don't know. Anyways, Heather says golf is not my favorite pastime, to be honest. Now, Katie says this is the prize for whoever wins. It's Prada sunglasses. And Gina's like, what? Oh, I love golf now. I need Prada sunglasses. That's a big gift. Anyways, Emily says, I'm not a golf person. I'm excited about like golf cart with like drinks, you know. So Jen comes in, looks cute. Shannon comes in. And Shannon comes, she just walks in. Hey, she's in like pink and green. She looks great, but she kind of walk like saunters in, like slow Shannon Bedore saunter walk. Tamara goes, my plan has always been to be cordial to Shannon. I can be your golf course friend. Sure, Tamara, sure. Yeah. Tamara goes, I don't golf, so being golf course friends means we don't have to talk at all. So Katie goes, Matt, come on over here. Come on. And Gina and Heather hug. They're like, we need to catch up. Matt gets introduced to all the ladies. And now Gina tells Heather, Gina goes, well, Emily is kind of up and down, up and down, right? And then, no, she didn't say Emily's up and down. She's like, stuff's up and down. It's hard with the stuff with Trav right now. He moved out. And Heather's like, yeah, I know. It's up and down. Last night was horrible because he's like basically like breaking up with me. And, then like he was really like, this is selfish. I don't ever want you to be unhappy. It's not fair to you. I need to let you go. And Heather goes, which makes you love him even more. She said, right. Where I was like, let's just let it settle. You can break up with me 3 months from now. Let's give it a little time. In a talking head, Gina goes, "I do understand that this is my decision, and I understand that this is something that I feel I need, right? And I understand that hurts Trav." She tells Heather, "It's a lot of emotional up and down to go through on a daily basis. I have to be right now like the mentally stable, positive one in the relationship in order to make this work." Oh my god, that is so see, this is why I feel like we are not getting a huge piece of information here, folks. Like, it makes no sense to me. Like, that scene was like, he tried to break up with me last night. He tried to break up with me last night because he didn't want me to go through pain. Like, there is dark shit happening. What? What? Okay, so the putters are being, like, handed out. We're gonna start this little golf tournament. None of the ladies seem to know that Matt is Katie's husband, so he's introducing himself, and they're trying to remember Matt's name. So it's a five-hole tournament, low score wins. I guess that's how golf works. Who knows? So they do this little golf tournament. You guys know me, not really big into sports, but Emily wins this whole thing. I will say I love watching Shannon not hit the putt. Like, just the way Shannon moves. She's like her body moves like Jim Carrey. She's like, "Oh God, oh, ow, so close. Oh, geez, Archie, no." But Emily wins the Prada sunglasses, which is huge. I'm sure Gina was very upset. And then we find out there's a hot dog bar because remember, Heather Dubrow loves hot dogs. And Katie goes, "What a better way to show Heather that I am not a threat than to serve the thing that she loves the most." And a talking head, Heather goes, "I do love hot dogs, though, especially pigs in the blanket." So Tamara and Emily are talking to the side, and Tamara goes, "Oh my god." And Emily's like, "What's wrong?" I think I'm gonna tell Heather." And Amy's like, "What?" I just think she should know. I just think she should know. This is classic fucking Tamara. Like, Tamara's like, "I think I'm going to tell Heather." Like, what? You literally we just had a scene of you talking shit about Heather, you and Emily. And now you're going to throw Katie under the bus at Katie's own event? Like, what? Explain that to me in any like that. What? So Heather sees Emily and Tamara talking. I don't know if producer made her go in, and Heather goes, "Well, what's the story over here, ladies?" And there's a silence. They're all drinking their drinks. And then she's like, "Are you guys ever going to talk? I mean, what's this? What? What?" It's so fucking weird. It's so weird. We're back to the other ladies talking about like hot dogs, avocados. We see Katie like behind, like far behind Emily and Tamara and Heather. And then Tamara starts with it. She goes, "The other night we all went out. Katie had said some things about you that are a little concerning." I love, oh yeah, Tamara's real concern for you, Heather. Yeah, she says that you call the paparazzi and you tell them where you're at all the time. That's not what she said exactly. And Emily goes, "Yeah, it's true." And she has proof of it. And Heather goes, "Good, bring the proof." And Tamara goes, "I asked her for the proof. I did. She didn't show me the proof." And Heather goes, "Yeah, because I have never done that." And then we cut over to the other ladies, and Jen Pedrante's talking to Katie, goes, "Does Shannon know about anything with the girls' night the other night?" And Katie goes, basically, I didn't know this was an issue last year for you girls with Heather and the paparazzi." And Shannon's like, "What's the issue?" "Oh, Heather and the paparazzi photos." And Shannon goes, "Oh, at the Disneyland?" Like, immediately knows what they're talking about. Katie goes, "A friend of mine runs all the paparazzi photos. She called my friend and said, 'I'm gonna be here on top of some other things that's been going on.'" I'm just kinda like, "Are you telling the truth? Are you not telling the truth?" And Shannon goes, "You mean the tagging of the photos?" "Well, that's just one of the Shannon, she reached out to a couple of my friends to get info on me." And she goes, "She did that to me when I first became a part of this group too." Katie goes, I don't know. I'm not threatening to anybody." And they're like, "Well, just go up to her and just say, 'Can I talk to you for a minute?' Just go put it to rest." And Shannon's like, "Good luck with that. Good luck with that." Now, listen, I feel like, yeah, she's chomping at the bit a little bit too much, potentially going too far. But I also think this is part of the reason why she's on the show. And this is what I don't know if she's forced into this storyline, but I do think they are trying to make this little molehill a mountain. You know? And this is classic Housewives where this little issue will happen, and then all of the girls will hop on it to try to co-opt that storyline. Lisa Rinna was the best at this, but now they're trying to all make this storyline, and at the end of the day, it's probably not that much. Anyways, they're like, "Rest in peace, Katie," and Katie's like, "Rest in peace?" And Gina's like, "Well, we just hope you come back." And then they're talking to Shannon goes, "Katie, today will be a big learning lesson." I like they all like she's like a fucking black belt, like you're like physically gonna be injured. So now, Katie walks up to Tamra, Emily, and Heather and goes, "Hey, Heather, can I talk to you just for a second?" You know? And Emily and Tamra just scatter like fly. I mean, just like, this is so fucked. Anyways, Katie's like, "Hey," and Heather's like, "Hi." We cut to commercial. We come back. Kenny goes, "I just feel like there's this weird looming thing between you and I." And Heather goes, "We didn't have a weird looming thing, except all I know is that you're talking to all my friends about me and saying that I'm calling the paparazzi, and then you have all this proof, and I'm talking to people about you, and there's a lot of untruths here." And I will say, Katie is just like kind of nodding her head in agreement, but she doesn't look panicked. She's holding her own so far. She's not like, "Oh, no, 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 no." She's just listening to her and shaking her head. Emily and Tamara's like, is there food over here?" Tamara's like, "I did my dirty work." All right. And Shannon's like, I just heard about the paparazzi, you know? And Tamara's like, "Well, I just told Heather." And Shannon's like, "Oh, you told her?" Of course she told her, Shannon. So now back to Katie. Katie's like, "Well, it came up the other night on our girls' night. It started with Sutton's Christmas party. Sheena had told me that she called you and Terry. You guys kind of like went through me and Matt's Instagram." And Heather goes, "Going through, like looked at it." And so we saw you at Sutton's Christmas party, Katie says, and we see that photo. You turned around and you stared at Matt and I, and then you turned back around. Oh my God, Katie, you expected me to see you in a line after looking at your Instagram and recognize you? And Katie goes, like, you legit saw us. And Heather goes, I have no recollection. And Katie goes, and even my husband remembers that. Now, I mean, I don't know. Part of this does kind of seem like, yeah, you might know, or you might even at that party, someone had said, "Hey, this is Katie. She's gonna be on." Like, come on. It does seem like Heather probably was aware of I don't some degree. Then Katie continues, "Then you go to 2 of my friends that live in LA and you're trying to get information on me." And Heather goes, "Well, you are wrong." And they're talking head. She goes, "I have been nothing but nice to Katie. I barely know her. She's not even a blip on my very rich radar." Katie goes, "Yeah, I came into this room like I know you lied." And there's ominous music. "I saw in the press that you alerted paparazzi. Well, my dear friend runs this paparazzi photos for all publications." I like it's a dear my the dearest of friends. And Heather goes, "Show me the proof, Katie." Well, I have a screenshot, Heather, of the text. Great. I'm going to tell you something. I have never called paparazzi in my life. And then Katie goes, "You've never alerted them." And she goes, "No, I have never done that." So he lied, Katie says. I don't know who you are talking about. Tense music. All the girls are watching this argument, this argument happen. And Shannon's like, you guys, why did you tell her? And Emily has a hot dog, like a face full of hot dogs. She's like, "How long was this supposed to go on?" And Tamara's like, "I felt like she needed to know." Tamara's carrying voice. "I felt like she needed to know." Back in the scene, Heather goes, "On the lives of my children. I have never called a paparazzi. Can we stop saying on the lives of my children? No." Anyways, the other ladies here, "I have never in my life called paparazzi." And we hear audible gasps. Gina's like, "Oh," and Tamara ducks. It is kind of funny. Katie in the talking goes, "I am telling the truth. I have no reason to scream and yell because I have facts and a receipt." And we see we see the receipt. The screenshot goes, "Settle this for me. Did Heather Dubrow call Paps to come and take pics of her and her husband publicly?" And the other the cloud, the text cloud just goes, "Yes." There's nothing more. Like, yeah, this guy could have just been thinking he was saying yes to some other text. Like, listen, I love where Katie's heart's at, and I get it, but like, we need a little bit more than just yes. And Katie's like, "Okay, Heather, if I have to, I'll pull it up that you called him." And Heather goes, "There's apps that can make that happen, that can make up texts." And Katie goes, "Heather, you think he would do that?" My dearest of friends, you think he would do that? And Gina's like, "Well, this is literally exactly what I didn't want to happen, and I feel at this point I should just duck and cover." Heather goes, "Just so you know," and Katie's like, "He's not even on social media because he doesn't want to be known for doing his job." Heather's like, "Katie, I have no worries in my body about this at all. I don't even poop at all, Katie." And Katie just is so chill. She just sips her drink through the straw. And I'm like, "Wow, she's not thrown at all." And Katie goes, "Listen, I didn't think you should have a worry. Yeah, I didn't think you would have a worry. I thought it was silly that you would do this. And coming into this group, I knew you lied. Stop saying the word lie." okay? Because I didn't lie. She gets real, like really enunciating. Tamara, back to her, she goes, should we all just collectively like leave? This is not a good, Shannon's like, this is just not a good situation. Katie goes, Heather goes, Katie, when you come into a friend group, what would be really great is just to make friends and try to meet people and understand them. And all the girls are now like crowding around like Heather and Katie. Try to understand them for who they are. Katie goes, I was literally going to them like, hey, I know this. What do I do? And Tamara says, I will say this, Katie has never gone after your character. Heather goes, but you are making a mountain out of a molehill. Like, that's what bothers me. Heather and I are talking, and goes, the things Katie's accusing me of are the things she's doing. I'm not digging up things on Katie. Katie's digging up things on Katie says, I wanted to see, Heather, if there's anything that you have harboring against me. I don't even know you, Katie. And Katie goes, correct. But now I don't know that I want to. And Katie goes, okay, well, that's your choice. And a talking head, Heather goes, I don't call the paparazzi. Katie has him by first name on a text message. This girl is obsessed with me. It's crazy. Heather in the scene goes, so now what? This has been a lovely day. And Katie laughs. Enjoy the Dom, Katie. And he goes, I'm so glad that all my friends are friends. Like, and then, Katie now has to pass out the gift bags. And she's like, I don't think Heather will accept it, but I'll give it to her. And then Heather goes, well, I'm going to go meet Terry for dinner. We have a nice little function with Drake later. So Katie's passing out these bags. Heather actually does take her bags. Everybody's saying goodbye. Katie's like, thanks for the Dom. Goodbye. Heather walks off by herself. And then Katie's like, yep, I'll take my Dom and go. And Gina goes, that was dumb. Next time on The Real Housewives of Orange County, we have Shane Simpson getting his boudoir photography, opening it up at a public restaurant. And he's like, wow. And then we have Shannon in her readers reading a text. Did Heather Dubrow call paparazzi? And he said yes. And Katie's like, you think I'd made that up? And then we have a scene with Tamara talking to Emily going, I think we're going to be at Katie's funeral soon. Yeah, because you did it, Tamara. And then we have a scene with Gina going, I fucked up. I fucked up. I'm sorry, Heather. I'm sorry. And then we have a big fight with Shannon going, I couldn't drink in my program. You need to stop. And Tamara going, lie, lie, lie. You owe John 75,000. Unfucking believable, Shannon says. And then we see Shannon saying, John Jansen is a fucking monster. Ooh, next week looks like a great episode. You guys, that is the end. What a supersized episode. I hope you had a good time. I hope you had, we're silly, right? Silly stuff. But it was great talking to you guys. I hope you have a great weekend. Eat something good, drink something great, hang out with people that you love, tell people that you love them. Maybe kiss somebody with their permission, of course, dance like no one's watching, watch something great, read something good, listen to music, and then meet me bright and early on Monday morning for an all new So Bad It's Good pop culture roundup. And we'll be doing a Q&A episode over on Patreon this weekend on Sunday. So if you're a Patreon member, hello baddies, and we will talk to you soon. Bye.